Okay, let's use our mates to connect the pieces of this toggle clamp with this video here. Okay, so it looks like this piece is turning at this point. All right, so that's gonna clue me in. I'm gonna need a revolute. This piece, this gray piece here, is moving back and forth, but it's not rotating, right? Because if it rotated, this connection piece would, be broken off. So I'm thinking a slider. And then let's watch this again. And then at these 2 points here, where the yellow meets with these two parts, those are actually turning as well. You see. So those are going to require some revolutes as well. So let's start by attaching this piece first. So I believe it needs to be perfectly inserted into these two holes. So we're going to use not a revolute, a slider. Center of the mate connector, right? To see if we can. Okay, there's no center mate connector between these two faces, so let's try a different face. We'll do this back piece to this face mate connector here, and that looks about right. Right, you can move it back and forth. So there's still translational motion here, so I need to limit that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a planer, right, and force two planes to connect. So it looks like from the video that this face, you see the one highlighted, and the front of this face are flush. They're connected together. So if I try that, yes, I can't move it anymore. So I've eliminated my translational motion by defining these two faces as being in the same plane. All right. Next up, let's do this gray piece here. So again, it looks like I'm going to need a slider, right? A slider. It doesn't really matter in this case where my mate connectors are, so we'll just do here because we're going to limit it later on anyways. Okay, and I can't rotate it, so that's good. This is always in this position, right? That's the position in the video. And now let's connect our yellow piece. So it looks like our yellow piece is perfectly connected down the middle to our gray part. So we're going to use a revolute. So that's going to allow for, right, because the yellow piece, when I move this piece up and down or back and forth, you'll see the yellow piece actually revolves around these 2 points, right? So we're going to click the middle mate connector, then the center mate connector here, and that will attach it perfectly down the middle. We can confirm, and now yes, it rotates. Next up, I believe the other end is connected to this portion, right? This little part here. So we're going to do the same thing and revolute these two because again, we need to allow for both of these points to move around. Alright, like that. The yellow piece has that same type of motion. And it looks like this blue piece is connected to our main pivot point here in this back part here. So we're going to use another revolute and again revolute it down the middle. Okay, it looks like there's no mate connector down between these two holes, so we're going to make one. On entity, we're going to choose between entities, and then my first point I want to be here in the center of the circle. My second point, I'm going to want to be this face. So that is going to put your mate connector right in the middle. And now we should be able to use our revolute. Click on the mate connector that we've just made, and then the middle one. Solve it. Just like that, we've defined the motion of our piece. Now, in the example, I believe it only goes up so far. So when you're trying to figure out, the limits for your revolute, it's going to be a trial and error process. This is my 0 point, so I'm going to say that it's going to be like, what is this, around like 90 degrees to, right, it stops when this bar is perpendicular to the floor, so it's going to be 90 degrees to like 180 or something. We'll see if that gives us any issues. Oh, is that, oh, it's the other way, okay. My bad. So let's try, can we go negative here? Negative 90 to about negative 180. Oops. Negative 90 to 0, let's try that. Oh, I think that actually just goes like that. Okay, that's good. About there, we'll check the video. It's about, I'd say I'll give it another 15. No. This is negative, about negative 20, I say. Alright. So just a quick note, your Z, your maximum, which is the bottom, has to be larger, always, it has to be always larger than your minimum up here. So if I put like 20 or something, or sorry, like negative 120, it wouldn't work. Alright, so that looks like about the right amount of motion. Okay. Then next we're going to put this handle on our bar here. So I believe this handle is shaped like a regular extrude, but with this arced piece here, which perfectly fits. So we're going to try to grab the mate connector right in the middle here and attach it to the middle so they line up perfectly. Alright, and because this is a half circle, or like an arc shape, we're going to use a slider. And that's going to allow, right, two, well, you'll see, I'll just show it to you. Right there, I think that's the one, yes. And we're going to want right in the middle, there. You may have to mess around with it to grab the mate connectors you want. But if it's not there, you can always make your own. So there we go, it's perfectly in line now. So our slider mate is going to allow me to move it back and forth. But I use slider as opposed to something like cylindrical, because our cylindrical is going to allow me to move, all the way around. And that's just not what I want. I can demo it for you. Cylindrical, right? No point in having that motion there. The slider is more accurate. Okay. Now, ooh, holy crap. Okay, now we're going to want to keep, we're going to want to limit the translational motion, right? And how we do that, we can define planes to each other, just like we did for this orange piece. So we're going to use a planar, and let's try this bottom face here. Alright, the middle of that piece to the middle of this piece. Oops, I guess I clicked the wrong one. Let's try that again. We're going to use a planer. Let's go at it from a different side. We can try this side, right, to this side. There we go. I believe it should be fixed now. Right, so the plane, right, the edge, this side face of this bar is now in the same plane, always in the same plane as its corresponding interface of the piece here. So now that is how you mate this piece. Make sure to use your limits and make sure you properly define your planes, or else you're going to have an over definition and everything's going to go red. Alright. If you run into any trouble, you can follow some of the same troubleshooting tips for your sketching, and undo, or you can just exit out of your current mate.